What up, Seth Miranda? This is Adorama Rewind. Before we get started, I just wanted to say I made a mistake last week in that this IR filter, yeah, you do actually need a modified camera for it. I made a mistake. I read this too quickly and I saw you need an all spectrum camera and I was like, oh, all spectrum, and it just clicked, and then I realized all spectrum, you need the UV acceptance, take the UV filter out. So I apologize. That was a mistake on my end. So for all you guys that caught that in the comments, I appreciate it. I'm just testing you and making sure you're watching. Okay, but in some actual really cool news, the Fuji 100 megapixel medium format that they've been talking about for a while, well, here's some details on it. DP Review got a hands on like a preview body, I'd say, and you can see that has a rear tilting touchscreen, dual SD card slots, 4K 30p, improved autofocus performance, some other things. Again, this is still them building a 100 megapixel camera, medium format with a stabilized sensor. That's a big deal. If we can get medium format to be as fast as full frame is right now, maybe it'll become the new full frame. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. Is anybody out there a medium format digital shooter? The GFX system seems pretty rad. I had the 50R in my hands for a little while and I had a lot of fun with it, and I really do like what Fuji's doing out there. And just to show you some more Fuji news, they are developing a modular system for the medium format. They don't know if it's going to go into production, but you can see here that starts out as like a square body, very flat profile. In the past with film, you'd have like a very square body to allow for the rolls and stuff like that. And here you can see that right around here is the break for a handle mount, so for a grip. You know, early on, you used to have like Mamiyas and stuff where you put a wooden handle to it. Well, this is allowing for a grip with actual functionality with buttons and such. They're playing with it. They showed it at a press conference, but they didn't say if they're actually going to go ahead and put this out there. That would be pretty interesting, though, if they could do that. In more innovation news, let me just put this up. Adobe Enhanced Detail increases raw photo resolution up by 30%. So you can't really see it in this one, but let me show you over here. You can kind of see it, especially in the lights in the middle of the frame. You can see how it fixes a little bit there. And definitely here, in like you can see in the traffic lights right around here, and on the street lights on the left. So basically what this is doing is taking your raw photo, going into the pixels, saying, hey, here's where I would smooth it out, and here's some colors and other pixels I would replace in there to make it look kind of high res. It's like an artificial high res. You know, it's interpolating technically. It's making an assumption of what it thinks the rest of the pixels that are missing in between two juddery styled juxtaposition pixels would be. Is this going to affect accuracy and legitimacy? Is this going to affect photojournalism, I wonder? I don't know, but I will say this. Everyone I know that's trying it out has been telling me that their file size has tripled. So an 80 meg file goes into 200 megs like that. But is it worth it? I don't know. You let me know if that's something that would interest you. Personally, I don't know. I'd rather have the lack of resolution on the sensor instead of a computer trying to make an idea of what it might be that I'm shooting. Although for something trivial like just a quick landscape or something nice with a bunch of little details in a vast space, maybe it's cool. I don't know. Heads up for drones, people. The FAA is going to make you put ID numbers on your drone, physically on your drone. By February 23rd, you have a few days, but you have to have it federally registered, and the numbers have to be physically on your drone. This is in case it gets lost, crashes, hits the ground, goes in the water, whatever it is, they can find you for it. So I guess it's like a license plate. You know, be diligent with that. Be on point with that, because the last thing you want to do is make them find more reasons but more regulations because people are violating the ones they're already putting out there. So if you're a drone person, just be on that, get some stickers made or whatever it tells you. Go to the website, the link's down below, and you can figure out how to register. Okay, so if you're a member of a bunch of sites that host information along with your photos, like 500px or IM, guess what? They just got hacked. So account stolen, details have been stolen. They put out a release telling people that about 16 websites out there, some 620 million accounts, the big ones being 500px and IM and stuff like that. You can see in this article that there's plenty of other sites that have been messed with. Do yourself a favor, check what you're involved with, what you have information on out there, and just check in with old profiles and things like that. They have been hacked. Some details have been stolen, and they have been sold on the dark web. So if you also just go ahead and change all your passwords, just go do it. And we're in the age where that's just kind of like maintenance at this point. So be aware of that. Okay, so last week I spoke a lot about heavy retouching and altering of images digitally, and the discussion in the comments got a little bit into digital artwork as a medium, and that's great, that's fine, that's all good on its own. I was talking about the documenting of people, portraits, subjects, and then altering them and saying that that's a real representation of somebody, and that's where I was having an issue. And then we spoke about how it's affecting young women with that project that that photographer did. This is kind of in those same lines. This is award-winning photographer Lisa Sad, and she's been accused of stealing photos. So you can see as we scroll down here that it's comprising of different images that have been going on there. So she's one of Australia's top photographers, but she's been winning these photo competitions with these illustrations that are comprised of stock imagery. And a lot of these competitions say that you can't use clip art or stock imaging or third-party images in their competition. So this is Marcel van Balken's photo illustration titled Runner, and he actually used an actual space. I think it was a Netherlands train station, and here is her version, but she doesn't say it's her version. And when you overlay them together, you can see even with the runner and the girl with the dress, the shape of the teardrop imagery, and the window placement and things like that. It's kind of apparent. And these are some other works by her. And photo stealers actually went out there and found her work and then every piece of clip art that she basically used to comprise all of these quote unquote images, right? Like here's clip art of the dog running, here's the actual clip art that they just found, the tree, the bicyclist, and this is all well and good, but it's when you, this one is bananas. You can see everything that was used in this one. Even this right here with the dog walking and right there. This is kind of bananas because this is a photo competition and you're literally just putting pieces together of stock images and vector art. I don't understand what judges or the competition themselves were thinking by allowing this even to be entered, let alone give her the award and then take it away. Awards have gotten a little weird lately. There's things winning that are complete cartoons and illustrations out there, and it's not a matter of the fact that she created these images, it's a matter of that she violated competition rules of using third-party images to create these images. Listen, you want to do digital art, knock yourself out. You want to piece things together and do found collections of images and put them in a new way and remix them, think of it like making beats or something like that, cool. But to enter in a photo competition, that's a little whether she should have had her stuff stripped from her is another story. I just don't understand why they even gave her the award in the first place. It's clear and apparent that they're not actual photos, but and yeah, you can go into things like Man Ray and other manipulators in the darkroom and stuff like that, but they were actually making that piece, and she's doing the same thing just digitally. That's great, but I wouldn't put it in a competition against someone who's actually shooting a frame and making that about a photo competition. It just doesn't seem right to me. In response to all of this, I got to give it to the Phoblographer. They've had it with the CGI'd, overly photoshopped cartoons that are flooding and being called photography. So they are putting out call it, they want to feature pure Strobist photographers. So if you're someone that creates it in camera, that shoots with actual light, you can submit up to 10 photos and 3,000 pixels in size, and they want to know how you did it, give you the credits to the grips, the models, blah, 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 all that stuff. And they're looking to feature people that actually shoot. They want to really get back to it, like I've been talking about. I'm not the only one, and that's pretty great out there. I'm going to give hats off to the Phoblographer. No hat today. So check that link out if you're someone that is really about the light and shooting it and doing it right there in the camera. I think this is for you, and I'm pretty curious to see who's out there and what's going on. And I think it's good that we stay up on other types of techniques, but stay true to what we actually do here, which is photograph. Okay. Let's get into a little gear talk. So on top of the Panasonic S series, Panasonic announced this, the Lumix Fz1000, the ZS80. So the Fz1000 II features this monster zoom 25 to 400 lens. And it's got a, the 1-inch sensor, 20.1 megapixel, 4K video, 30p. It's a pretty cool little camera in there. And then they go even smaller. There it is with the Leica lens on it, the Lumix ZS80, tiny with a lot of reach on those optics. We're looking at 24mm ultra wide, 30 time Leica DC very LMR telephoto lens. Ugh, say that right. Optical image stabilizer, and can do 4K at 30p as well. So, you know, I don't think Panasonic is walking away from the little sensors anytime soon. More releases from Canon. So they have put out the development of 6 new RF lenses. You can see them right here. We're looking at the 24 to 72.8 LIS, 15 to 35 2.8 IS, 7200mm 2.8 IS, 24 to 240 f4 6.3 IS. So I think this says they're not looking to put image stabilization inside their bodies anytime soon. They do say it's coming in the future, but all these lenses are stabilized, and I think that's going to go for the R camera that we have out now. And of course, they just released the RP, which is a $1,300 price point, which I'll get into in a second. But this is a pretty good line of glass that come out of the gate for the R series. It's kind of interesting, right, that the camera seems a little throttled, but the glass seems very thriving. A lot of pro glass here, the 24 to 240 f4 6.3, that might be kind of the kit lens right there. I don't know. We'll see what the price points come out for those being, but you know, Canon has always had really great glass out there. Tongue twisters. Okay. Nikon, however, threw down a lens themselves, 24 to 72.8 S. So this is the first like real pro lens for the S line for the Z series, and you can see right here that it has an extra ring. So it's doing what Canon was doing with the customizable control ring, and they're doing it on this. And right here we have a little display that lets you do, you know, things like ISO, focusing distance, aperture, you know, typical things you would have on a lens, but it can change inside that little screen. And of course, there's a little guy right here that I'm really excited about, and that is a lens function button, so you can program that as well. It seems like a very customizable lens. The screen, I'm not so sure anybody's really going to need that. It's kind of a little cool little thing. If it drains the battery at all, I'll be pretty irritated, but I think it's pretty cool. Thing that people are saying is, why did they put out a 1.4 or 1.8, or why aren't they using the flange that they've been talking about? And what you have to realize is that they kind of are. For this lens to be a 2.8, it would be monstrous. I think that the optimization of the flange is allowing them to make smaller lenses with the compromise of maybe not a 1.4, but a 2.8 that's manageable in size. Also, this has 2 different groups of elements that move at the same time, allowing for a faster autofocus, not just one group that's moving back and forth, but 2 lens groups that are moving like this, so that instead of one lens group moving this full travel, you can have them meeting somewhere in between, and it'll be a little quicker. Speaking of faster autofocus though, Nikon has announced that in May we will be getting new firmware updates for the Z6 and Z7. So it's faster autofocus, better autofocus, eye detection autofocus, and increased AE performance, meaning that'll track in continuous high-speed extended modes for auto exposure, and the autofocus tracking will get boosted. You'll get support for raw video output, and of course the XQDs will become CF Express compatible. Even though it's just one card slot, that's one hell of a card slot. And we talked about this before, but now there actually is a release date of it coming in May, which is great. And to talk on top of that, and it's like Nikon Day, it's crazy. Nikon and Atomos announced 12-bit ProRes RAW external recording on the Z series. So forget about the 10-bit. Now you can boost up to 12-bit Apple ProRes RAW out of camera into the Atomos, which is bananas. 12-bit. I'm curious what the file size is on a codec with that much color to it. So, and also really want to see what it looks like, because 10-bit color, you can totally see 10-bit color. I wasn't a believer till I was upstairs with the guys and I was looking, I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. On top of all that, with Atomos, they just released the new Shinobi 5-inch 4K HDMI monitor. So it's got all that power that Atomos is known for, but it's small, 5-inch, tiny little guy, meant for the tiny kid people, you know, the little mirrorless systems. You don't need a giant monitor on there. If you're okay with having a smaller monitor, this will give you capability with a small package, which I think is really great and shows that they're really seeing how people are using their equipment. Atomos has been a very on point company, has been very progressive. Jeremy Young, we've talked to him a lot. He seems like he just sees what people need, sees what people want, and is just going for it. I mean, name one person out there that's doing video that hasn't touched on Atomos somehow. Okay, wow, I am out of breath, but we on our channel have had the Canon EOS RP hands-on. We got it a little early. We had a few minutes with it. We got to go to the park. It is the dead of winter. There's only so much we could find. These are beta models, so we can't necessarily be around people when we're doing this in case of them taking pictures to leak it. These are not production models when we do these. So Nathan Allen got to go around the park and play games with this new camera and see how he liked it. So far, it's just a really tight little package for not a lot of money. If you're looking to jump from your iPhone to a full frame, now you have a really affordable option at $1,300. So people were like, oh, the Canon R, when are they gonna put out the pro camera? They're kind of pivoting, right? They're kind of getting it more into consumers. I think they looked at this and said, well, how can we get the people from the Rebel series to jump to full frame? And it uses the Rebel batteries and stuff like that. But I think the issue going forward is going to be the glass, right? And they're putting out 6 hardcore lenses there. I think that one, though, is going to be the kit lens that I spoke about before. I don't know, let me know what you think. If you're a Canon user, what do you think about the future of their mentality going forward? Do you think that they're going a lot more prosumer, a lot more consumer, away from the pro end more? Are you waiting for that heavy hit pro camera? We've heard rumors of the 100 megapixel and them putting in IBIS in their cameras, but there's nothing solid or concrete yet. So is that something you guys are hopeful for coming, or are you okay with where you're at? Are you happy with the R series as it stands? Let me know down below. Oh wait, one last thing. I'm gonna be at WPPI next week, so I'll be doing this on location, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. But I will be there doing workshops, shooting live in the Westcott booth on Wednesday and Thursday. So if you're in Vegas, if you're at WPPI, come check out the Westcott booth. But I will be doing 2 workshops. I think they're filled up, but you can go to WPPI Expo, go to speakers, find this jerk right here, click on Seth Miranda, and you can find my 2 classes, one fast portrait speed lights, and the other one creative exposure and camera, where I showed you how to do all that ghosting and all that rainbow crazy weird stuff that that I did in like the Paris video. Also, Dan Norton will be out there with me. You can go right here. And right underneath me over here is Daniel Norton. And I said that on purpose, Dan, I hope you hate it. He's doing better than natural light and using flash to create dramatic portraits. I think those classes are full, but he's gonna be on the floor doing demos as well. Check his media out to see where he's gonna be at. I'm sure me and him are going to team up and tag team some demos out there together and get in some crazy trouble. So WPPI, Las Vegas, next week. And if you're at the show and you're not able to sign up for any workshops that we're in, Adorama's gonna be there and have a booth. And, you know, me and Daniel and the rest of the people will stop through there time to time. But for the most part, you can find us at the workshops or the booth demos that we're promoting, which I will be over at Westcott. Dan, I can't remember where he's going to be at. He's going to yell at me in the comments right now. But go ahead and look into that. All right, this was a lot. There was so much, a lot of excitement, a lot of downfalls. Let me know what you guys think about some stuff out of there. I don't have a question of the week. I'm a jerk. I tell you what, for that, let me know what you think the question of the week should be next week. Write it down below, and I will go through all the questions of the week that you guys come up with, and I'll pull the one that I think is... Okay, I'm running out of gas, as you can tell. All right, guys, thank you so much. Hit like, hit subscribe. I will talk to you guys down in the comments, and I will see you next week from Vegas. Peace.